Greetings everybody, this is Serpentine451 and welcome back to another episode of Weeb Warriors. I'm sorry for the late episode, folks. I just had a very long day of making sure things were paid and whatnot. But I will be hitting you guys with some new reviews for the shows this week. Let's start with Oreski. It was simply a recap episode, so nothing more, nothing less. Just get out of the way. It had some funny dialogue, so brush it off. Next up, let's go to Vinland Saga, and that would be episode 21, Reunion. Arriving in York, our crew is faced with an interesting dilemma where Ashgalid pretty much throws everyone off their game using his tactical mind by using a female slave to basically be a stand-in for Canute for any assassin to come their way, and to basically incriminate King Sweyn in the act of the prince's assassination attempt. That's one thing that's kind of the main crux of the plot. We also had Leif Erikson running into Thorfinn again, begging him to come back to Iceland to see his mother and sister, but all Thorfinn has on his mind is revenge for his father. And that finally leads to the reveal that Ragnar's brother is working with King Sweyn to get rid of Prince Canute. Then, at the end of the episode, we had a duel between Ashgalid and Bjorn, where the two actually became friends in their own way. Bjorn was under the fact that Ashgalid hated everybody, but all he could see Ashgalid as was his friend. And Ashgalid, as Bjorn was dying, said, "You are my one true friend." And then that leads to another duel between Thorfinn and Ashgalid to end the episode. The duel is about to start as the episode ends. Still, very solid episode. I'm not gonna lie, this show has been fantastic. But also, I would like to add a little bit of interesting spice. I've always thought that this show is fascinating, and Wit Studios animates this show beautifully. It is well-paced, well-animated. Sure, I haven't read the source material for myself yet, but still, I think this is a good adaptation from that perspective, regardless. But anyway, let's move on to the next show. My Hero Academia Season 4, with this episode focuses primarily on Tamaki, aka Sun Eater, taking down 3 of the expendable bullets of the 8 precepts of death. The crew run into the stronghold and try to get to Eri. And that's where they mean to a few hindrances along the way, where we have Mimic transforming into a hallway, leading them down to the 3 expendable bullets, with their quirks Crystallized, Larceny, and Food. I don't remember their names right away, so I'm remembering their quirks, but with everyone trying to take them down, Aizawa stripping them of their quirk for that time frame, and Tamaki telling Fat Gum, like, hey, you guys get to where you need to be, I'll take care of them myself. Which leads to an amazing fight scene, and we got to see more of Tamaki's character as a kid who suffers from that level of anxiety of trying to open up to people. And when he meets Mirio, his best friend asks him questions a lot, and just really left such an impression on him that Mirio to Tamaki is the son that he's striving to be somebody. He can't be that. But Mirio says, hey, I look up to you, and I'm only stronger because of you, my best friend, because of how great of a quirk you have. And Manifest is an amazing quirk. And he says, you gotta be something that's better than the sun. You're a Sun Eater. And that's his hero name, and I thought that's a great backstory to that. For those who only watch the anime and haven't read the manga, which, sure, I haven't I've yet to finish that part in the manga myself, personally, but I still think that the 8 Precepts arc is still fantastic. I don't care, because I find Chisaki to be a very interesting villain in My Hero. And his underlings, the Expendable Bullets, represent just fascinating facets to how Horikoshi writes characters. And also, Tamaki's that great of a character. I think a lot of the characters have their moments in, like, sparse situations throughout the series itself, from, like, just the manga stuff and in the adaptations. Everything was great, and the next episode will be focusing on the guys taking on Rappa and another Expendable Bullet, and that will lead to Kirishima's big moment in this arc, and that's going to be fantastic. But enough of My Hero. Let's get to another show. Let's go to Welcome to Demon School, Iruma-kun, where they play dodgeball, they wrap up that moment, and at the end of a fantastic round between Iruma and Osmodeus, they actually succeeded in having Iruma promote to a bet class demon within the school, to everyone's shock and amazement. It was such a fun way to kind of play with some, like the end results of training, and it led to Iruma actually being a bit of a badass, catching a fucking fireball in his bare hands. That was fantastic. Next up, let's go with We Never Learn Season 2, Part 2 of this particular arc with Fumino and her father. Essentially, we have Fumino basically telling her father, like, hey, I know the password to the laptop thanks to really nice bonding moments at the first half of the episode between her and Naruyuki, where Naruyuki at one point takes her outside so they can see the stars, and he points out the different stars that and constellations that he sees from what she taught him. And she gets so excited about talking about these stars, and she looks back on what her mom said about these stars, and if she had to name a star, what would that name be? And it's not revealed until close to the end of the episode is that it's her father's name, because young Fumino wanted to name a star after someone they both loved, referring to her and her mother, and that being, well, her father, Reiji. And when Reiji realizes that the laptop didn't have the equations for the big thing that he was striving for, that his wife lied to him, and how she herself pretty much failed at math when she was in high school, it really threw him for a loop, because he had such a high regard for his wife's intelligence when it came to mathematics and astronomy, that he didn't really pay too much attention to how she was when she was younger. And she wanted to improve herself because she just loved her husband, loved the man that really wanted her to be better. She made herself better just to really live up to him. So both of them kind of see each other in this mutual way, but her untimely passing led to him pretty much shutting down from Fumino, because he smacked her away in a fit of grief. And since then, he hasn't figured out a way to communicate with his daughter in a more fatherly way. He was kind of lost after his wife's death. And after talking to Naruyuki's mom to kind of help him through this, Fumino and her father reconciled, and they actually became a little bit better. And the funny bit at the end of the episode where it's like, hey, Mr. Yuga, what is your relationship to my daughter since she was staying at your place, under your roof? What shenanigans did you get into? Which leads to the typical embarrassing scenes. Next week's episode is going to be very fun and entertaining. I cannot wait to see that. Let's see. Dr. Stone, episode 23. where they actually complete the cell phone, well, not really a cell phone, but a phone that they put together. What I love about this episode in particular is that we got to explore more about the old man, and his backstory, where he loved making things. And he felt a little out of place at times when the young bucks are ultimately trying to leave him out, which he didn't. And they didn't leave him out. They really pushed him further to be better. And there are two funny scenes that relate to like a passing high five to the different teams that led to the creation of their cell phone system, or their phone system. How the old man's like, hey, I want to do the same thing you and Crom did as Maker Buddies. I'm like, hell yeah, let's do that. And Suika's seeing this moment, looks at the little kids, and the kids are like, Suika's like, we kids could do something too. Come on, tell me what to do, Senku. He's like, yeah, you keep making that rope. High five. And they're like, yeah. Yeah, everyone made these phones before Tsukasa's... Yeah, before the time frame to basically take down Tsukasa. And that was amazing. Remember Underskin? Sokka? My Hero Academia? Never learn. What can I do to Scott? Dr. Stone. Underskin. My Hero Academia. Sokka. I think that's all the shows. If I forget something, my bad. But regardless of that, for the soapbox discussion, to kind of explore characterization, and in this time of year, even though it's not Thanksgiving, there are a lot of great characters and great character moments, and we're going to continue to get great character moments. And the one thing that I want to loudly appreciate is that when characters do have their moments where they have like a realization of themselves, we get to know more about them, what goes on in their heads, because the written word allows us to get into the characters' heads, whereas like television, movies, or even animation, we don't typically get that. It seems rather weird to hear a voiceover that portrays his thoughts, unless you're David Finch's Dune. But the one thing that I can always appreciate is with animation, regardless if it's anime or Western animation, you can tell by the level of detail and expressiveness. You can see, and it also takes a lot to voice characters like this. The one example is that with Tamaki, we got to see aspects of his character. He's nervous around people. He's crippled by this anxiety to actually improve because people think his quirk is useless. Or he perceives himself to be useless because of this quirk of his. That he's not flashy or cool compared to his bright, energetic best friend, Mirio. He seems lost, and that's a sort of relatability that anyone who is feeling like that they can't strive in a field that they really excel at, and they pull themselves apart just to basically say that, hey, I may not be good, I just don't have the confidence to do it. I've had moments like that where I get so anxious and I get so riddled with depression that I lose faith in myself, and it takes people like me, like Tamaki, just someone, anyone, to give us that bit of motivation to look at ourselves really, or to do things that help us really explore who we are. And Mirio tells him that, hey, and Mirio tells Tamaki, hey, I may be the sun to you, but you are far cooler. You have a cool quirk. You're a cool guy. You make me laugh. You're my best friend. And you know what? You're something better than the sun. You're a sun eater. like I said in that review portion, and I think people who give me, and people who feel like Tamaki does, the way I feel, and how I connect with this guy. And it's that sense of how, with animation, we may not hear what goes on in Tamaki's head, but we see it in his facial expressions, and the way he says things a lot of the time. And sure, there are some voiceovers in animation, I'm not saying that there isn't, but what I am saying is that some of the things that are left unsaid, they are so powerful with just facial expressions. You can say a lot without saying anything at all, and I think that's what makes Tamaki such a great character. Well, next week, hopefully Jordan will be joining me, and it's just this time of year where I feel warm, I feel wholesome, and it makes me really appreciate, sorry about that, what anime has done for me. And anyone who has gone through different walks of life can really appreciate anything that they appreciate. Next week, we will be getting into a few other things. The reviews will still go strong. Sorry for this being late. Until next week, catch you then next time on Weeb Warriors.